kind of wish I made a noise.
Oh, you want like a 5, 4?
Yeah, I want a countdown. I want a real countdown.
Or even like a little doot, doot.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Halo noise.
Oh God. Yeah, prepare to drop in.
So I don't remember how I saw this, but we talked about how you never played Halo a few episodes ago. Did you end up buying Master Chief Collection?
That wasn't me, dude.
Oh.
I've solo legendaried every game from 1 through 4.
Oh, what am I thinking of then? I talked to somebody and they said that they never played Halo.
That wasn't me, dude.
Well, knowing the perfectionist in you, I would assume that like the Master Chief Collection is your nightmare.
I mean, I have like 700 achievements in that game, or like 400, or the 700, or something like that.
I was about to say, I want to say there's 1,000 achievements at this point.
Oh, no, 700. I have 4.
Oh, there's 700? Oh, okay, I got you. Maybe I'm thinking. There's one game that I know of that has got like 1,000 achievements in it or something like that.
Let's see. That's 700. Okay. And where's my achievements? That's sad. I hate it when like that happens. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday. It doesn't work right.
So what now?
Yeah, I forgot it's Tuesday, and like Steam does not like to work right Tuesdays.
Yeah, we've had 2 major like shutdowns in the past 2 weeks. We had like the AT&T shutdown a couple weeks ago, and okay, so AT&T completely shuts down across the nation, right? And then like a couple of it was a nationwide outage. And then there were certain spots where like Verizon and I think T-Mobile had dropped out too. But AT&T said, "Don't worry, we're going to credit you guys' account for the outage," and then they literally gave us $5.
You know, that was more than I was expecting for them to do.
And then today, early this morning, Emily said, "Hey, go look at my Facebook. I think I've been hacked. Like I got logged out, and it's not letting me log back in." And then I went to log into mine, and I was like, "Oh, I got kicked out too." So Facebook was down for like all of it was probably like an hour that Facebook was down, and like I went to Google. I was like, "Is Facebook down?" And it was just like a complete rush of people on Twitter. It's like, "My Lord Jesus, Facebook's down. I don't know what to do."
People, get over it. It's just Facebook.
Yeah, see, the only thing that, like, when my wife was saying, "Yeah, I mean, Facebook's down, and I'm not sure what to do with myself," I was just like, "I'm just using Twitter."
I mean, yeah, there's plenty of options.
For me,
also, go touch some grass.
That's boring. The graphics suck out here.
They're Ultra HD, unless you need the glasses DLC.
The ray tracing isn't that strong. And quite honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, HDR sucks.
Oh no, I just think the gameplay's a little repetitive, but what are you going to do about it?
I can get 4K 120 FPS. But anyway, so before we start talking smack on Nintendo, I want to squeeze a quick review in here.
Go for it.
I've been playing this game. Well, okay, so it started out with I've been following Kind of Funny's. Every year they do a fantasy game critic draft where they go through 2024 and they basically treat it just like fantasy football, where they pick a game, and when the game comes out, every point above, I think it's every point above a 70 that it gets on Metacritic, they get 1 point. So if the game gets like a 90 on Metacritic, they get 20 points. So I was following that, and out of nowhere, this one guy like just shot ahead of everybody else because of this game called Balatro, and it had like a 92 on Metacritic, and I was like, how have I not heard of this? So I actually, as it turned out, after seeing all that, I got on Twitter, and the guy that was doing the review codes, it was the PR contact was like, "Hey, if you want a code for this game, just apply here." So I applied for the code, and I got it. and I wasn't sure about it because it is a. What's going on? We got traffic here already? Yep, we sure do. That sucks. It is a deck building roguelike that, at first glance, it looks like a poker game. But pretty quick, you realize it is about as it is a poker game only in the fact that you're working with a poker deck. You've got 1 through 9, and then your jack, your king, your queen, your ace, and all the 4 suits. You got all those cards in your deck, and every round you have to get to a certain amount of chips, and to get those chips, you have to play, two pairs or 1 pair or a flush or a full house, and each one of those card combinations gets you a certain amount of points, and when you get the amount of points that you need, so there's 8 antes per round. I have not beaten the 8th ante yet. I've gotten close, but I have not beat it. Each ante has 3 rounds in it. There's a small blind, a big blind, and there's like a little boss level. So the small blind and the big blind, they're simple. You should have a certain amount of points, but in between each round, you get a certain you get cash after each round, and you could spend that cash to get booster packs. You can buy Joker cards and tarot cards, planet cards, and I don't think they're called tarot cards. They're called Arcana cards, I think. But basically, you spend your money to get all these cards to basically boost up your deck. The Joker cards are my favorite part about this game because they give you multiplier. Like they basically, you can have up to 5 Joker cards at any one time, and every Joker card has a different effect. And you have to play the game to unlock all the Joker cards because they're all randomized, but you unlock them as you go. Right. And some Joker cards will be if you play the same type of hand twice, you get a ×3 multiplier. So if you do 2 pairs in one hand, and then you do it again later on in that same round, you get a ×3 multiplier. And so every time you lay a hand down, your points are calculated, and depending on what Joker cards you have and what special effect cards you have, your points are added up together and your multipliers are added up together, and those points go to your chip count. And those booster packs, they do just give you you can get Joker cards and regular cards added to your deck, but you can also upgrade your cards to foil cards or holographic cards. And basically what those do is it gives you certain multipliers that you can use. So basically every single round you're building your deck and you're getting more Joker cards and you're upgrading your cards to get more points as the rounds progress. But at the end of every ante-round, there's a boss round. And the boss rounds they just have some effect. It's randomized every time. One boss blind, for example, could be you have all your diamond cards, all your spade cards are debuffed. So if you play a spade card, you won't get any points for that spade card. So, stuff like that. And I didn't mess up because it was just a luck thing. When I finally got to ante 8, I got to the boss round and I had to get 300,000 points, and I think I only got to 100,000.
Damn.
And I had a killer, I had an absolutely killer deck setup. I had a lot of multipliers. The Joker cards that I had would give, whatever points that I had, I would always have a ×100 plus multiplier.
You're still lacking.
I was still lacking. And, I knew I wasn't going to make it, too, because, when I saw the 300,000, I was like, I've not even gotten close to that before.
Live and learn, my friend. Live and learn.
And something that I really appreciate about this game is you do not have to know anything about poker to play this game. All the hand combinations that are available in the game, you can push a button and bring up a cheat sheet at literally any moment to see the different kinds of hands you can play. and you can also level up those hands. So one of those booster packs you can get is something that levels up different hand types. So that, like, you know, like a flush will start with a certain number and a certain multiplier, but as you level it up, that number multiplier goes up. So your baseline for that hand gets higher and higher and higher. And mixing all those elements together, really, like, you can get into Balatro. Like, I mean, you could really get into the thick of it. And it's one of those games where I kind of just, like, I had it on my second monitor at my desk, and I would just, like, you know, play a card or two every now and then. But I spent days where I just couldn't play anything but Balatro. So if you are a fan of roguelikes and cards, this game cannot be beat. I think it's super cheap. If you could double check me on this, I think it's only like $12 to $15.
I can check, but mine is in like Chilean pesos, so also price changes from region to region.
But I think it's only like $12 to $15. It's a super affordable game. You'll definitely get your money's worth out of it. I'm probably never going to install this game. So all that being said, we are here today to give a eulogy to the Yuzu and Citra emulators. And really, this episode is just for us to talk smack on Nintendo because we can.
Yeah. Until they sue us, and then we won't be able to. But
they're not going to care about what we say.
I don't know.
We've got like 30 followers.
Yeah, but you don't know if one of them is like Nintendo lawyers.
Yeah, it's just one guy that just goes. He goes to find all the small podcasts, and he's like, "We're going to nail these guys to the wall."
we need to get to the bottom of this.
It's like, "Hey, Doug Bowser, we got this Night Ride Home podcast. We got to shut these guys down." They were talking smack at us for taking out an emulator.
They call back to Japan Nakamura's. Destroy them.
So, if you don't know, like, if you haven't seen the news, basically Nintendo sued Yuzu, claiming that they were liable for damages, and Yuzu reached this. Well, basically, the basis of the lawsuit was they said that because of Yuzu, 1 million copies of Tears of the Kingdom were downloaded before the release date, I think is what the metric was. So, like, before the game came out, it was downloaded 1 million times.
Yeah, although Yuzu was not out at that point.
No, Yuzu was out.
Oh, it was out? It was like something like just wasn't working or something like that by the time it happened.
Yeah. I want to say it was Ryujinx was the emulator that had it working on there, but allegedly, I had tried the early leaked version of this game, and it didn't work, so I deleted it and I just bought the game. That part wasn't allegedly. I did do that. I bought the game.
You allegedly bought the game?
No, it was. I really did it. I've got the receipt. So, actually, I remember after that game came out in May of last year, I want to say, and that was when I had my first casino shows. Was at the end of the month of May, and I was playing Tears of the Kingdom obsessively. Like, after the show was over, like, all I wanted to do is go back up to the hotel room and play Tears of the Kingdom. But so I didn't think. I did not think that they had a ground to stand on, but obviously did because Yuzu reached a settlement with Nintendo. They're paying $2.4 million in damages, and they're shutting down Yuzu, and they're shutting down Citra, which, if you don't know, is a 3DS emulator. So my thing about this is
hello?
Hold on.
Okay, there you are. I got scared for a second.
Hold on. Wait, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, for some reason it's like really low volume. Hold on, let me figure this out for a second. I've got a FaceTime call, but I can't figure out how to make it go away.
Oh.
Here, I'm going to put on Do Not Disturb mode. I did not put it on earlier because I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Say something?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can't. Hold on. We're trying something real quick.
Go for it. So you wait. Will he survive? Will he make it through? We don't know. Anything can happen here. And I'm alone. With my thoughts. Don't know what will happen. But I am here. Someday, there will be friends here to help us. To make us through. To help us make it through this day. But until then, I shall be here. Well, as I wait. Well, let's see a random story that maybe he'll get to hear. One time, when we were hanging out at the Quincy parties that we talked so much about, I got the idea of getting into the golf cart that Doug's parents had. We started driving around like dumbasses. Well, the thing is, I started driving right towards Doug. The Doug kind of just got stuck there, like a deer in the headlights, just kind of stopped moving. And because he stopped moving, I couldn't move out of the way in time. Oh, you're back. I didn't get to finish the story. That's sad.
Okay, that was really annoying, but I figured it out. Okay, so what were you talking about while I was gone?
Oh no, don't worry about it.
Okay, I'll listen to the playback later.
Kids, I'll finish the story another time.
So yeah, like I was saying, so my view on this is the Switch emulator. You know, a lot of people are saying that it's wrong for the Switch emulator to be a thing because at this point, it's not about games preservation because you can still legally and easily get a Switch. And everything that you want on the Switch, you can buy for it. And I understand that viewpoint, but it sets a bad precedent for later on when Nintendo abandons the Switch, like we all know they're going to. And if Nintendo just gets rid of all the Switch emulators, then we're not going to be able to play those games when Nintendo abandons them. And that's the case, I feel, for what's going. We're losing Citra, which is a 3DS emulator, which you cannot download 3DS games anymore. I'm pretty sure the 3DS eShop is down.
Oh yeah, pretty sure like all the 3DS stuff is down at this point.
So I mean, you can't get that stuff anymore without paying an absurd premium. And look, like I understand that porting games to the 3DS would be kind of like porting 3DS games to the Switch would be kind of a weird thing. But there are literal indie studio, well, not indie studios, but well, I mean they are independent, I guess. But there are people that are not Nintendo that have been making emulators that work really well for years. And if the Steam Deck can run DS and 3DS emulation almost perfectly, I honestly don't see it can't be. So I don't feel bad for Nintendo. I don't think that Citra should be taken down at all. But at the same time, Citra is going to be fine because there are going to be people are going to host those files forever, and they're never going to get taken away.
Yeah, I mean, because I started watching videos about it a little bit more, it seemed like the issue with the whole situation was that they were the page that they had was actually showing people how to basically download the games from the CD, from the game disc.
Well, dumping your own games isn't dumping your own games the absolute legal way to do it?
Technically, no, because it's showing people how to bypass the protection to download it.
Yeah, but I thought like the whole thing was if you own the game, you can legally emulate it.
Yeah, but they're arguing like, oh, it's just showing how anybody can do it, and then people can resell it, and that's piracy.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, see, that was like the main issue. Like, if apparently, and also that they had a Patreon, so they were making money from the information.
Yeah, I mean, Patreon, they definitely shouldn't have done that. That was their bit. I feel that if they wouldn't have had that Patreon, then Nintendo wouldn't have came after them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Ryujinx has a Patreon, and Nintendo's not coming after them yet.
And also, one of those things that made me sad, but it might actually be that they settled out of court mostly because they don't want to set a precedent for other emulators to get taken down legally, you know.
They took one for the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it sucks because the thing about Switch emulation allegedly is that Yuzu and Ryujinx both work differently depending on the game you're playing. Some are sometimes better than the other, but the good thing about these emulators, like I played around with both emulators when I first got the Steam Deck, and a game that I played a lot of was Breath of the Wild. When it was the first game I got when I got a Switch, like a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And these emulators are doing what Nintendo won't.
Fixing the
they
game.
let you. Well, they let you play Breath of the Wild at 60 frames per second, and it's like Nintendo can 100% make better hardware than what they're doing, and still sell it at a reasonable price. Well, I want to say the Switch OLED is probably $350, and has 30. I want to say it's 32 gigabytes of onboard memory, and the base model of the Steam Deck with 64 gigabytes of onboard memory, $400, and could run Breath of the Wild at 60 frames per second. So you cannot tell me that they cannot be doing more to get this done and to give the bare minimum. Honestly, at this point, some games on the Switch look fantastic, like the Fire Emblem games look great, but like Nintendo's laziness with some other things, like the most recent Pokemon games, I don't understand what Nintendo's doing, and I feel like I'm the outlier on this, because after the last Nintendo Direct, the last like real Nintendo Direct, I watched it and I was like, man, that sucked. And then everybody else is like, man, if this is the last leg of the Switch, then we got a lot of great games. And I'm like, we got a lot of okay games coming out. One good game that's just a remake of another game.
Fair.
The only good thing the Switch has coming out anytime soon is a remake of Thousand Year Door.
Oh, that's such a fun game.
Yeah, they're coming out with a remake of that, with like all new graphics and stuff like that.
You know,
honestly,
sometimes I really wish just Nintendo would just put stuff like on Steam, or I wouldn't even mind if they made their own like
their own launcher.
Their own launcher, like a Nintendo launcher. You can like play, dude. Put your whole library. You have You have so many games. People will buy that shit. Yeah,
and the thing is, looking at the whole Xbox debacle that went down a couple weeks ago, some of Xbox's games are going over to Sony and Nintendo consoles, and like, I mean, that's just more people getting to play those games. And I know that you had to have exclusives because you have to have different consoles to have competitions. So there's no monopoly. Blah 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 blah.
Come on, let's face it. That shit's dying down. Like I know, I know there was a lot of hype for the PS5, but compared to what like I saw for like the 360 PS3 era, nobody talks about the consoles anymore.
Well, you must not be on Twitter, sir, because they sure are.
Dude, it's Twitter. Nobody cares about Twitter.
Like
But
I will
no, but like I mean, like in the common like day to day, like just with people.
yeah.
I don't hear people talking about consoles anymore. I hear people talking about PCs, not consoles.
And even with consoles, you see stuff like the PlayStation Portal. People are starting to make products that get you away from sitting on the couch and you can play your games wherever you want. You've got the remote play. Which, speaking of PlayStation Portal, I got one. I ordered one today.
Nice.
Let me tell you real quick. I've got to tell you the journey about getting this thing was so hard to get. I got a PlayStation 5 easier than I got this PlayStation Portal. I got a launch PlayStation 5. I got in the first round of pre-orders. I got a PlayStation 5. I could not get this Portal. I tried all weekend. I started trying on like Thursday, and I set up an alert system where it would give me like a notification every time they would go in stock. By the time I would get the notification and get to the website, they'd be gone. Then over the weekend, I was getting my haircut, and I was sitting, and I got a notification that they had some at a Target that was nearby. So I placed an order, and the order got canceled. So I placed a second order, and it got canceled again. So Target just completely locked me out of their system. I couldn't buy a PlayStation Portal from them. And then it's just been like, okay, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, today's Tuesday. Like those 4 days, it's just been me constantly like logging into like different storefront websites. And then finally I was at GameStop of all places. I was able to get one from there. They had a really good stock come in. But yeah, I mean, you see services like Remote Play and Xbox Cloud Gaming and Steam. Steam has a Remote Play option, and GeForce Now. So, like, you see consoles and PC both have these things where they're just wanting you to play your games wherever you can.
Yeah.
And the only person that's not doing that is Nintendo.
What are you talking about? They started the whole movement with the Switch.
Okay, but you say that jokingly, but they did. Handhelds were kind of on their way out, and the Switch came out, and then everybody was like, well, if it's on the Switch, I'm going to get it on the Switch. And I will 1,000% admit that I was a Switch. So, like, I was number one Switch supporter. I carried my Switch everywhere with me.
Yes, you were.
Every time there was a Nintendo Direct, I popped off because I was like, oh, all these games, I can play them portably. And now that the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally and all these other portable, PCs are a thing.
With quality.
I don't ever really think about my Switch anymore. I picked up my Switch for the first time in a while because I got Electrician Simulator, which I just finished my review for. It was a Switch code. And, I mean, just playing the Switch the whole time, I was thinking, I wish I could be playing this on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to, like, I'm not even excited for the Nintendo Switch Online options anymore because there are better alleged options and on other platforms for emulation.
Yeah.
Like, a few years ago, I would have popped off for Golden Sun 1 and 2 coming to Switch Online. But now I just don't care because I've got other places to do that.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
And Nintendo is always going to be on the back foot until they put out a handheld that can compete with the Steam Deck and all these other handheld gaming PCs. They're always until they can compete tech spec wise with that. They're always going to be on the back. They're always going to be behind. And I saw somebody comment on. It was somewhere, but he's like, well, Steam can make the prices that low because they're they also own Steam, so they're just getting all that money back when people get the Steam Deck. They're buying. That's the same thing Nintendo's doing. You have to go to the Nintendo eShop to buy the Nintendo games after you buy the Nintendo Switch. So you can't tell me that they can't be making these things better.
Yeah, I'm like the Nintendo. I know I make fun of the Switch every chance I get, but I feel Nintendo actually had a huge opportunity to open up the market and just control it, but they just kind of let it go.
Yeah, and I will be the first to say that Nintendo Switch OLED has an incredible screen. I love that thing. But at the same time, I wish that they would have just kept that in development for longer and made it more powerful. And then put, hey, this is the Switch Pro. It's got an OLED screen. It's got a much beefier system inside of it. And it's $400 or $450 instead of, hey, we just gave y'all a better screen. Here you go.
Yeah. That would have been the best thing.
And honestly, the Switch OLED screen is so good that if Valve had a buyback option where you could trade in your Steam Deck, I would have traded my Steam Deck in to get the OLED version.
Yeah, I know you would.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I looked into it. I went pretty far down the rabbit hole, seeing if there's anybody that would buy my Steam Deck from me, and then take the money I was going to use on the PlayStation Portal and combine that money in to just get a Steam Deck OLED. But then I was like, it's just an OLED screen. I don't need it.
But I want it.
I do want it. If I had walking around money, I would just go buy that thing, and then I would. If I ever got to the point where I could where I had an OLED Steam Deck, I would probably trade in my Switch.
Like I said, I feel Nintendo just kind of flopped a really good opportunity to take control of the market, like they used to control handheld in general.
Yeah, and I'm we were talking about this. The 3DS was such a moment because it was the last handheld that you could put in your pocket. Think about that. All the handhelds now, you can't put those things in your pocket. You couldn't even put those in the front of your pants.
I kind of miss. I actually miss small handhelds. I'm not really a big fan of tablet-sized portable consoles.
Even the PlayStation Vita. It was kind of awkward to put in your pocket because of the thumbsticks.
Yeah.
But those handhelds. What a time to be alive, man! Those were great. I would always put my 3DS in my backpack. And the 3DS was college days for me, and I would just walk around campus. And then when I was done for the day, I would take out my 3D. I'll get in my car, and I'll pull out my 3DS and see all the people I'd done Street Pass with.
Yeah, I remember going to conventions here and just walking around with my 3DS playing games, and then when I'm noticing oh shit, I got so many Street Pass, doing so well. It's nice.
I actually, when we were talking about the 3DS last, I went to DK Oldies and almost bought a 3DS, but they didn't have the color I wanted, so I ultimately backed out on that.
Well, I'm glad I have my DSi and my 3DS with me.
I'll never tell anybody that I won the lottery, but there will be signs. So if you see me walking around with a 3DS, you'll know.
I will know.
But yeah, man, and that's the thing with, again, if you want to play these classic Nintendo games, you have to pay a pretty hefty premium. This is just an example. Say I wanted to play Heart Gold.
Right.
To get a copy of Heart Gold now in good condition, you have to pay probably $100+ because that game is so.
Actually, I had just watched a video about talking about Pokemon game prices and how they exploded, and it was $200, $200 something.
Yeah, and then throw it into the fact I also looked at DSi prices while I was on DK Oldies' website, and an acceptable version of the console, which means scratches and stuff on it, is $100. So you got to pay $300 to play a game. That's not acceptable.
No.
It's just not. And I will never say that it's wrong to to emulate those games. I would never say that, because if you're saying that, oh, well, you just got to pay $300 for this game, no, I'm gonna emulate that, and I'm not even allegedly at this point. I do it. And that's what
it's kind of like going back to like Game Boy games. Like, how easy you think is to find a copy of Pokemon Gold and Silver?
Well, I think they're on. I think DK Oldies might have some. I know for sure that they've got Gen 1 games. Like they have. I just watched a video. They did a video yesterday or the day before, and they were like showing like different games they had. And they actually have a whole line of red and yellow cartridges that are all legitimate copies. Like they're not like reproductions; they're legit copies.
But I'm gonna step it up a little. I'm gonna step it up a little bit more. That are working because the battery's not dead yet.
Well, I'll go a step further there. DK Oldies actually, when they buy Pokemon games like that, they replace the battery.
Oh, nice. Well, Game Boy games in general, you have to.
Yeah. So like all those Game Boy games, they replace the battery for you when you buy it.
Yeah.
You still there? Oh, okay.
I'm still here. I thought you were going to go a little bit farther from that.
Nope. I was, but yes. I mean, that's why allegedly I have a 2 terabyte hard drive that I've been allegedly just building my game collection, like of games that like you just can't get anymore. If you ever like, I know you don't have TikTok, but like they might have like YouTube Shorts or something for DK Oldies. If you just like scroll through those, it'll be stuff like, oh, this guy got a PS2 and these 3 games, and that sounds like a PS2 and these 3 games, but like that PS2 and those 3 games, that's like $300 maybe.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not feasible to make people pay those prices for these old games and these old consoles. And I know that Sony and Nintendo and Xbox, they can't just like make these things forever, but then they also can't go back and say, well, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean they could do like the whole. I don't know if you know about this is just something I learned a couple of years ago, like a year or 2 ago. What happened when Max Payne was released for PC?
What happened?
They actually downloaded a cracked version of the game. They actually re-released a pirated version of the game for PC.
Oh no!
I am not kidding. Like they actually, like people look through the code and it's like, oh yeah, here's like the I don't know if you know, but like cracked games. They usually like the people who crack the game usually leave a little thing like, oh, cracked by so and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found that.
Oh, that's not a good look.
That's not a good look at all, but but you know what? They made it easy for you people to buy. I feel happy with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of developers are doing this, where they take older games and they just re-release them with slightly upscaled resolution. That's good. That's really good. More developers should do that. And if you did that, then you wouldn't see as much piracy and emulation. And the best way that I can think of to make that connection, look at the piracy rates of music before Spotify and then look at after. It's night and day. Because the music was made readily available.
Yeah. Piracy is always about not having an easy way to basically buy it. Because people who want to buy stuff will buy stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
dude, I'm gonna put this in context. I live in a country where I can easily pirate whatever the fuck I want because laws here don't care. The law here doesn't care. I could pirate whatever. I don't do it because I have an easily available way to buy my games through Steam. That's why I don't pirate games.
Yeah,
that's how it works for most people.
Yeah, and that really just goes for everything too, because games like What am I thinking? Games get taken down all the time for like licensing issues, like the Deadpool video game that came out on 360. I think it's some kind of licensing issue. You just can't get that anymore.
Oh, that thing
Spec
was
Ops: The Line.
Oh, they removed it like not too long ago. I was so sad about that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic third-person shooter that you just can't buy anymore because of licensing issues.
Yeah,
And I was lucky enough to have bought that game way back in the day when it came out. But like if I hadn't done that, that's just a game that I wouldn't be able to play anymore.
yeah. And there's so many games that are just lost through that.
We do. Yeah. We're gonna continue this conversation in another episode because I am getting close to my destination. So we're gonna put a pin in it for now, and we're gonna come back to this later. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you for joining me, Leo. And we're gonna keep talking about allegedly emulating.
I'm here not so allegedly because I can't do it. Nobody cares.
All right, bye, buddy.
See you, man.